How's it going, everyone? Data here, and we are just a few short moments away from the NHL 22 franchise mode and Be a Pro deep dive dropping this morning, October the 4th, 11 a.m. Eastern. Oh man, obviously a lot more excited for franchise mode than Be a Pro. So many things that could be coming our way, things that we've been hoping for a long time. Not gonna get my hopes up for a lot of things like GM Connected or for roster sharing, or for Be a Pro being a super in-depth thing where, we're not buying $500,000 glass of orange juice at a hotel and I get a +1 balance for 6 games or something. Like, obviously that stuff's always going to be there, but going into this deep dive for franchise mode, what I'm really hoping for especially will be a simplification of the line chemistry system, not just a full 3-minute focus on how X factors are going to factor into that. Hopefully a bit of a simplification to the scouting system as well. And then I'm not going to ask for things that they've never done. Like, I know people are always saying, oh, get the KHL and stuff like that. But, licensing, it's a big issue. But how about stuff that we've already had? The All-Star Game, real coaches, get some licensing with the Coaches Association, doing a Winter Classic, things, simple things like that have been done before that we know can happen that wouldn't be the end of the world. So, 1 minute to go, and we'll finally find out. I do apologize for the upcoming quality of audio in this video, listening back to it after I've already recorded it. My audio is a bit too high, and the video from EA is a bit too low. So obviously, if you haven't already seen the video, go and watch it first, then come back and listen to my reaction if you would like to have perfect audio from the EA side of things. So I do really apologize for that, but I don't want to re-record it because I want to keep my reaction authentic. Mute that for a second. So many other things that we could think about. Like, I'm just going off the top of my head here. Like, how about just retiring numbers? Things like, what would be great would be, first, if the trade deadline minigame was fixed, so that whenever you make a trade in it, your lines don't get best lines after you come out of it. And then whenever you're trying to make a trade pops up, it erases your screen. And a huge thing that would be great would be a mini game for free agent frenzy on July 1st. That would be amazing. If you could see what other teams are offering so that you can try and beat them, as opposed to just overpaying and crossing your fingers and hoping that other teams don't pay more than you and you find out in 5 days. That would be great, negotiating and stuff like that. So, we've been waiting a long time. Here we go.
Welcome to the third installment of our NHL 22 in-depth series. Today we're diving into Be a Pro and franchise mode. Before we get started, just a reminder that our final video will be dropping on October 6th.
Okay, thank you. Ultimate Team, of course, yeah.
Play. So there's a lot of info coming in these next few days.
Okay, thank you, sir.
To our YouTube and other social channels.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Out of the way, let's get right into the content.
Okay.
I'm happy to be joined by Gern, who spans across Be a Pro and franchise mode on the NHL series. How's it going?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm hoping today you can talk us through what's new with Be a Pro and franchise mode, and a special surprise at the end that we can share with people.
Sounds good.
Better be GM connected.
With Be a Pro, obviously with the rest of the game, having superstar X factors in there.
So start off with Be a Pro, obviously.
Enhance the Be a Pro experience with that feature. So we've added in around roughly 300 new conversations.
That's amazing. I don't need to get chastised by my teammates for not going to the zoo and paying for everyone's dinner now.
So that you're able to have multi-year challenges, kind of be able to really keep your career going.
That's good. Oh, you're a defensive defenseman? You didn't score last night? The team hates you.
Special, like a superstar X factor.
Okay.
Starting with your build archetype, how are the X factor abilities affecting this? Because as you see with each archetype, there's an X factor ability tied to it. Do you now sort of unlock that ability right when you start your Be a Pro career?
Good question. So yes and no. Essentially, these archetypes each have an X factor that's kind of unique to that specific archetype. And what we ended up deciding on, what we wanted to do is not necessarily give you the X factor right away, but what we want you to go through is a shorter term storyline that you need to go through that course of a few games. And then
so it's within like 4 games of my NHL career, I have tape-to-tape McDavid X factors.
And that storyline then spans into the second year of your career.
Okay.
Talk about those new storylines. Can you walk us through sort of how you unlock X factors and how that all works?
Of course. So we're in the brand new ability screen, and the first thing you'll notice at the very top here is you have a zone ability slot, and then you have 5 superstar ability slots, and each of these are unlocked via X factor points. So by default, you have your zone ability unlocked for you. But as you progress through your career and as you buy salary perks, complete other challenges, you will earn X Factor points, and that will then allow you to unlock specific X Factor slots as you kind of go through. Once you have an X Factor slot unlocked, you're then able to use one of the X Factors that you have available for the specific archetype. So each X Factor is attached to a specific storyline.
That's interesting. Now that's nice. So it's kind of like a pick your path. It's not just here's a story and fill in a few of the blanks.
But at a certain point in time, you will be able to unlock these X Factors via that specific storyline. So as you can see in the bottom right-hand corner where you see the view challenge progress, this says regular customer / divisional enthusiast part 3. And that information right there kind of tells you how to trigger that storyline to unlock the specific X Factor.
Yeah, but that's too much. That's too crazy. You have to have played for 5 seasons on the same team. No one's playing 5 seasons on the same team.
And once you have the actual X Factor in progress, we'll show you how much.
I really hope they're not all super hard to attain like that. Like, I don't want them to be within 4 games, like I said. It shouldn't be 4 games in my career I have X Factors, but it shouldn't be that I have to wait 5+ seasons either. Like, if they're trying to make all the goals, like, oh, past Gretzky's record, past Lemieux's record, those were trophies that you could get years ago in NHL. That's what I hope it's not too over the top.
So, we obviously take feedback seriously, and we did know that
feedback seriously? Oh, yeah, let's hear it.
Was just having a lot of the focus around the rookie season. There were some.
What do you mean a lot of it? It was exclusively the rookie season.
Last year, but it was more milestone-based achievements. So this year, we really wanted to kind of.
It was more rookie season based. There was no podcast after year number 1.
Well, there's roughly about 10 different storylines here, and
10 different storylines.
One season, some span almost 10 in some cases.
Okay. Well, that's good. If you want to go long, that's great, but it shouldn't be that they have to be long. If I just want to play 2-3 seasons, if I want to play every game, I can't play 15 seasons in one NHL game. Okay, that's good. Good. Born leader, reach a playoffs as team captain. Okay. Hopefully they don't make you captain after like maximum 1 season. You're already the captain.
I also heard that the conversation system has been expanded. How do the new storylines...
These conversations, let's hear it. Yeah.
So, as I mentioned before, we've added a lot of new conversations to the content.
Yeah, thank goodness.
This year. So, as a part of these longer-term storylines, we wanted to kind of fix some of the pain points that we had.
The pain points?
That we displayed to the users. So, as you can see here, there are a few things that we did last year that, left people wondering what challenge did I pick, why did I pick it, and, what am I going to get from this? So, one of the things that we wanted to do now that we're giving out X Factors and really wanted to let the user choose between different storyline points in a conversation, we want to kind of show you your future reward. So you can see in the bottom right there that, you have a future reward here for Spinorama. Depending on certain conversations, that may change based off of the storyline you choose. So if you pick the storyline to the left here, it may show Spinorama, and the other one, it may show something else. The second thing you see is there, we kind of...
Okay. Don't really have much to say about this. It's just, it's good to hear this stuff. Obviously, I can't say much until I get to try it out and see how broken it is, if it is.
Specific set of goals, as a specific set of things they need to accomplish to get the reward of a X Factor, and each X Factor is unique. So in this case, you're looking at the journey begins, and you're starting your career in the NHL. You're trying to establish yourself. So the challenge.
It's fair enough. It's fair enough. It's hopeful. I'll give them that. It makes me hopeful. I want to say.
It's a very easy storyline to kind of get your foot wet into, kind of dip your toe into the water, earn that first X Factor. The other thing you'll notice in here is that storyline headline on the bottom left there were highlighted in blue. So in this conversation, it doesn't make too much of a difference as it's a very linear path. But as you get into some of the more complex storylines, you're going to be having to make a choice. So what we want to
finish a season as the top team in your division.
Hey, I'm picking a storyline. So you'll see that blue highlight as well as the storyline button.
At least it's a long-term challenge like that, as opposed to, hey, can you go and do 6 takeaways tonight, and you do 5, and the media hates you.
And the other thing is,
win the Stanley Cup 2 more times, babe. That's too long-term now. And if I fail, if I get traded, so what? My brand goes down 50, and then the next game I score 2 goals and goes up 100.
Storyline at a later time by having a conversation that you can trigger with the
This is what we need to fix here. The teammate likability and brand likability, it all means nothing, pretty much. I get a plus 100, minus 100. It's like, I don't mind taking the negative 6,000 hits because I know I'm going to get a plus 300 every game that I score 2 goals for in the next few games. There's no real repercussions.
That are a lot more challenging than this, but this is something that we wanted to kind of make it easy enough for someone to earn something.
That's to play on this team for 5 years. I can't commit to that right now.
Play for one team for a very long time, which, you know,
as a rookie, I have to reply to Hazel Woods, whoever this is, and tell them I'm going to play for 5 years.
This may make you think twice about doing that. And again, the other thing here is you're actually interacting with the fan, which is something we didn't do.
Yeah, who has my number? Why does Hazel have my number?
Interact with you in some of these long-term storylines. And again, you're able to kind of pick and choose between what you would get for the storyline and get to.
That's why I really hope too many storylines are not 5 years plus. Win 2 more cups, all that stuff. Longer term is fine. Don't make it all 5 plus. I wouldn't mind a 2-3 year. I guess you would classify it as mid-range.
On our likability system to be a bigger range. And
okay, that's good. Because you max it out way too quickly.
So you'll see on this screen that the likability ranges from 10K to minus 10K now.
Okay.
To 1K to minus 1K. Last year, we were able to kind of get a lot of those bars full pretty quickly.
Very quickly?
We wanted to kind of make this a much more longer progression, just to kind of tie into all these longer-term storylines that we have. So
okay, good.
Kind of
that's good.
Management likability at a slower pace. But if you complete all these challenges, you'll be not as quick as last year, but certainly it'll take you a year or 2 or 3 to kind of fill up these meters. If you just stick.
Now I want to know is, why am I wanting to fill these meters? That's what I want to know. It takes me longer to fill them, but why am I filling them? I get more followers. Cool. What does that do for me aside from give me a number?
So that it does take a lot longer.
Make it 19,827. Make it 19 million. You know, what's the difference, really? Am I getting boosts? Am I getting perks? Am I getting what?
Winning multiple championships, winning awards. You name it, to kind of feel like you are a gold legacy meter.
The chat is blowing up here. Everyone's falling asleep. Okay, here we go. Here we go.
Expansion and the Seattle Kraken.
Obviously, this year with the Seattle team actually expanding into the league, we wanted to allow the user to either pick their own team.
Oh, I like that.
The authentic expansion protection list.
Good.
Submitted, or they can use an automated system.
Good, yes.
You generate.
That's exactly what I'm going to be doing for my first franchise mode, my friends.
On top of that, as you saw, you're also able to.
I don't like seeing that Foligno and Thornton were still on the Leafs, though. That means I have to fix all the rosters? Okay, they're going back in time to the protection list. My bad. Good.
We wanted to allow the user to kind of have that custom team and have that custom team enter the league as a part of the NHL. So
good. Now I want things like no movement clause and no trade clauses to be playing a factor into all of this. That's what I want. Why is Krejci eligible? That's what's a bit odd because he's going to retire.
Keep that creativity and customization that they loved putting into those teams and put them into their franchise mode. We also added in a setting as a part of the 33-team expansion draft where you can exempt Seattle or have Seattle partake in it, so it's totally up to you.
Interesting.
Obviously, Vegas was exempt from the Seattle expansion
okay,
draft.
that's good. Smart.
The users,
I would love to have some sort of like morale bar of how much that player wants to sign for you. If you're going to take Dougie Hamilton, but he doesn't want to come to you, then I won't draft him if I know he's going to go to free agency.
Yes, so we've added
all right, X Factors in the draft.
Report to franchise mode called XFactor Report, and the XFactor Report is there to kind of tell you if a player is an X Factor. So this applies for both amateur and pro players. So, you know, in years past, you only had the 3 tabs for the amateur report. You now have a 4th tab called X Factors. And in here, you'll see what X Factors.
I'm curious about how many they could have
in the draft. And in the earlier rounds, you'll see more players with X Factors. And then as you get into the deeper rounds, you may find a player that has a decent potential or a low leap potential with an X Factor. And that
interesting.
May be a gem that you would want
I like
to
that.
get.
Okay.
So you'll start seeing
hopefully they're not
the later rounds,
like NHL 19 where there's just medium franchise goalies everywhere. So I hope it's not going to be that every single late guy with low elite potential has an X Factor. And then that gives them more trade value.
So that you're able to maximize your team chemistry.
Okay. Let's see it. Team chemistry. Can't even see the +5. Terrible color scheme.
When you're creating your team.
Yeah, so what we wanted to do...
What weird logos beside the person's face as well.
Very important factor for line chemistry. And what we wanted to do is kind of...
This is what... was Nuge a two-way forward? I didn't see that. Was he a +5 as a two-way forward? Oh, hold on, I
ability
gotta see that
that's very
again.
compatible with winners. So say shooting and passing X factors, or defensive X factors with other defensive X factors for your fourth and third line. They have a big impact on chemistry now. So what we also did is we kind of expanded the range on chemistry. So you see a lot more positive and negative chemistry balances, as well as just the balance between how much an X factor can.
He's not saying two-way forwards, but it sounds like he's saying it.
So having players on your even strength lines have
terrible fit
that all work together can overcome poor line fit as well.
See, that's interesting. Terrible line fit. That's a +5.
More of a grace if you have players that have very similar X factors or work.
So I can finally get a high-rated coach with not a great fit. This is sniper, power forward, playmaker. That first line there.
Certain X factors help outside of just 5-on-5 lines, such as 1-2, which also helps out on the power.
Okay, interesting.
Others may not help in certain situations.
Okay, good to know.
So certain offensive X factors won't help out.
+5 on that first power play unit without Carlson being an offensive defenseman. That's good to see.
Chemistry outcomes based off of the X factors that they have. So if you do have an X factor, it is a really important part. But if your players don't have a lot of X factors, you won't be necessarily negatively impacted by it. The other factors still contribute a good chunk of your chemistry. So, even if you don't have a superstar X factor player on a line, you can still have a +1 chemistry or a 0 chemistry.
Good to hear. Very good to hear.
+2 if everything kind of works out. It's just a matter.
I just hope it's not so easy now. Everything's +2, +3, +5.
We actually have one.
But that's it.
We're working to bring to NHL 22 post-launch. It's something you guys have been asking.
Yeah, this has to be
GM
connected.
Time now, and is a first for the NHL series. Gern, can you do the honor?
Wait, a first?
Unveiling exactly what I'm talking about.
Roster sharing?
So I'm very excited to tell the community that we are planning on releasing roster sharing.
Oh my goodness!
We're going to allow the users to upload and share their roster files.
Only took you another decade than everybody else.
Into franchise mode and playing with their favorite roster.
Let's go. Let's get some drafted players. Let's get some. I don't have to wait for all your rosters.
For a very long time, it has been on the tops of our list.
Oh, has it been?
Because it's such a fan-driven request.
Oh yeah.
That you see all over our forums.
I'm sure you do.
Reddit communities on Twitter.
Yeah, deservedly so.
Really important to you guys, and it is something that we wanted to deliver, and we're really happy to be delivering it this year, just because it adds so much to the franchise.
But why early December 2021? Hey, Tugi's roster.
Within our game, which is really cool.
That's nice. Guys like Tugi who do the rosters, I can just go for them instead of having to spend 8 hours. Yeah, now pat yourselves on the back, Abe. Good job. Oh, first time.
We're expecting to have our roster sharing feature around the December timeframe.
That makes no sense.
Something that we are working hard towards. That is for sure.
So if I get the game at launch and start creating a roster, will I be able to upload that for others once the patch goes live?
Yes, so the
plan
is to allow you to start creating your roster on day one of when the game launches, and then be able to upload your favorite roster that you want to the community once the roster update feature goes live in that patch.
For those who don't know what roster sharing is or how it works, can you explain to them the possibilities you'll have now that roster sharing will be in 22?
Let's hear it.
Of course. So there's 4 key points of roster sharing. So there is the ability to save your file to be uploaded. So you take your offline file, and then you would use the save file screen to save your file to be uploaded. Then you can go into your upload files or your share file screen, and then you can share your files, give it a description, and say it may be something like the greatest prospect potential roster update ever.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Implies that you created a bunch of or edited a bunch of prospects for the draft and franchise.
Really, it's gonna be fun. Like 1994-95 rosters, that would be a great idea for a franchise mode. Just getting real rookies and players who aren't in the game. Guys like Askarov, Cam York, whoever other American prospects, yeah. You can see which ones are most downloaded. That's great. Just like MLB The Show, NBA, all those guys, 2K.
You can search for specific files. You can see all the files a specific player has uploaded. You can look at the most downloaded, the most liked files that are available. And then once you're ready to download a file, you you can hit the A or X button, and you're able to then download that file and then use it for your franchise mode. It'll be really cool to see
That's
once
big.
everything's kind of
That is
up and
big.
running.
Gotta
See
say.
all the files, all the new unique rosters that are going to be available for users to use this year. It's really exciting for us on the dev team. So as a part of your uploads or your downloads, you're able to kind of edit your players or create new players and give them different ratings, different attributes, different X factors, whatever it may be.
So you can still tweak it yourself. Download a roster. If you don't like something, you fix it a bit.
Unique overall scale, you can do that. If you want to change potentials of players, you can do that. If you want to give them certain X factors, you can do that.
Oh, okay.
The purpose of the feature is
you can add X factors. That's interesting.
What is popular and allowing them to kind of
we don't know anything though about can you change player types in franchise mode, all that stuff.
Allow them to kind of really enhance their experience within that mode.
There's a lot of things we don't know still.
Roster sharing.
Roster sharing is gonna be here, guys. Come on.
And I'm really excited that we were able to implement it this year. Thanks again to Gurren for walking us through all those features, and we'll see you October 6th for a final deep dive into Hockey Ultimate Team. See ya.
Wow. Okay, let's go back a little bit here. That's so initial thoughts. Be a pro, whatever. Give it an L. Don't really care about that. Franchise mode, everything they said, pretty massive L. Aside from the cool things about Seattle, just the mode in general, nothing has been touched, I guess. Roster sharing, huge dub, huge dub. Gotta admit. Was Nugent Hopkins a two-way forward? I need to see this. Nuge is a two-way forward. Oh my goodness. Okay, so that's huge. Two-way forward +5 confirmed. Draisaitl, McDavid, Nuge +5 on the first line. Now, the things we still don't know a ton about. Can my coach adapt to my players? Can players who do not have good chemistry get good chemistry over time? And then other things like I mentioned, can I change player types within the franchise mode? And obviously nothing else has been touched. There's no All-Star Game, there's no Winter Classic, there's no retiring numbers, none of those things, or else they would have been headlining it. So roster sharing is huge. Unfortunately, got to wait till December. So I'd probably recommend waiting to get that for Christmas once they get all the bugs out in early December. But for the game itself, franchise mode, I wouldn't say much has changed. Scouting hasn't changed in the way that you do it. Line chemistry should be a bit simpler. I'm sure it'll still have some complications to it, but it's good to see that this line fit like this right here, less than half a bar, still gets a +5. Is it because he's an X factor, or is it just because the player types and I don't know what else? Is it a big boost just because the X factor is what I'm trying to figure out. So, but in theory, X factor or not, maybe only with the X factor, in theory, a +5 is possible with a two-way forward. Now, I'm disappointed by how little they touched upon in the rest of franchise mode, except at least just show us the screens, see how things look, just quick trades. No free agent frenzy game, which is unfortunate because it's still going to be the same way that we send contract offers to free agents, as well as extending our own players on contracts. So that's a bit disappointing as well. Trade deadline game. So the things like our little glitches fixed, we won't know that until we actually get into the game itself. So I guess we can't really speak about that until hopefully if I can get on EA Play, I'll be able to know October the 7th, and I'll do a franchise mode breakdown in a few days. So hey, if you're not already subscribed, make sure that you are. NHL 22 content coming your way. This was the first one with a few more videos coming out as time goes on. I'll have hopefully the breakdown coming, the franchise mode overview coming soon, as well as putting out tutorials on things like line chemistry, things like scouting. So for everything that you need on franchise mode NHL 22, this is your place. Leave a like if you think this was a good little breakdown, more from myself than EA, but let me know your thoughts as well on what you think EA did. If you are impressed, if you are not impressed, will you be getting this? Will you're gonna wait a little bit, see what happens? I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that. XFactor chemistry line contributor, magnetic here. That's interesting to see as well. So he has a bunch of things associated with him. Obviously, Draisaitl has a bunch too. So is it only because we have two of the best players in the league that Nuge gives that line a +5? Couldn't say for sure. Like, for example, on Seattle here, you don't have good player types, both two-way forwards or both. Here's interesting, though. Alexiak and Larson, both defensive defensemen, I believe. Yes. And hold on. Let me see. Yes, defensive defenseman. Yes, both defensive defensemen, and they get a +2 as opposed to the usual. The best you get is a 0, sometimes a -1, 2, or even 3. So good to see that on defense as well. Very good. No ability on the X factor, but still a +2 from Alexiak and Larson. Okay. I don't think I have much else to say, unfortunately, just because they didn't show that much. I do, going back to the beginning here, I do like, so you can make a 33rd team in the NHL, and you can have Seattle contribute a player in the expansion draft or not. You can take Seattle's 32nd team and you can go according to the protected player list and create your own team as if you were the general manager. That's what I'm going to be doing because I had made my selections before Seattle made theirs. So I'm going to have a franchise mode as Seattle for my first series, as if I was the GM doing the expansion draft and getting to choose a few, mostly the same, but a few different picks here and there. I would like a lot of other things, like I said, but this is a step in the right direction for some things, especially for line chemistry. Hopefully the other things just get fixed as time begins to go on. GM Connected, I'm sure that's going to be a huge selling point of NHL 23. This is the first, I knew it wasn't coming this year with the cross-platform, whatever, it was too much work for them, but I think NHL 23 is the first year realistically where I'm going to be saying GM Connected might be happening, and it actually should be happening. I'd say at the very latest 24, and if it goes after that, even if it goes beyond 23, it's just crazy that EA wouldn't be listening. But hey, that's all I have to say. Like I said, leave a like, leave your thoughts, and let me know everything heading into NHL 22. Make sure that you're a part of the team headed into this new game coming up. We're finishing off the Columbus Blue Jackets franchise mode in 21, and then we're getting into 22. All the links for everything you need are in the description, such as the Discord server and the Twitter page, where you can find out a lot more stuff as time goes on. It is interesting to note, though, if Foegele, Puljujärvi, and Turris, I believe playmaker for Foegele, Puljujärvi sniper, I think, and Turris two-way forward, that gets a -2, and Cassian, Hyman, Perlini, which should be power forward, two-way forward, and sniper, also a -1. So player types are definitely still playing a role as well as line fit. Don't be fooled, but nice to see the +5 is possible. I'm going to stop talking. Hope you enjoyed the breakdown. Let me know your thoughts, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next one.